Okay, well, I'm making some progress. I've really thinned out this stave. It's getting pretty thin here. Can put a hand around it. Starting to kind of take the shape of a bow. I've worked the tip down on this end. I'm still leaving a lot of room in case I need some wiggle room, but you can kind of see the pencil line. It's still pretty rough, but we're working into it here. I made one mistake and I got really close. My line, you can kind of see I tailed into it here and got a little bit far in, a little closer than I wanted. And normally I just move the line or the tip this way a little bit, but there's a knot right here on where I needed the line to be, and I think it was going to cut in here a little bit to follow the grain, but now I'm pretty worried that I'm going to run into an issue right here. And this is also the spot where I have the knot in the wood. So from here down, it looks great. It's going to be fine. A little knot here, it's right on the edge, I'm going to take out. But this area right here is just pretty boogered up, so it's going to take a little bit. But I'm working a little bit with the big knife, but also with the spoke shave here, this deal. So slowly chipping away at it. As I've learned this and gotten better at it, I work faster, and that might be to my detriment. But we're making some progress, so we'll see how it ends up. Next time, or next clip, I'll probably have it down pretty close to what the bow is going to be. Okay, so we've made a lot of progress. Really starting to thin the stave down. Still has a long way to go. I probably need to get it to about another half of what it is. You can see kind of the bend in the wood there, and again we'll take that out with a steam gun. All right, not a steam gun, a heat gun. There's that knot. It's getting smaller as we get deeper into the stave, but I'm still a touch worried it's going to go pretty deep and maybe cause a fault or a weak spot. But here's a look at the bow. You can see where the tips are tapered down, and I'm hugging some of these lines, and I've actually gone into them in a few spots. It's a little bit thinner right here than I'd want it, but just kind of working all that down. My plan now is to just keep using the draw knife and the spoke shave to thin this down until it's getting close, and the bow will start to flex, and we'll start the tilling process, and eventually make a string, put the nocks in. So okay, so I took some of the bend out here with the heat gun. Heat gun there. I just added pressure to it as it heat up. I got this boat here, and I was using this section on the trailer to stick it in like that and bend it. And Osage wood is really malleable when it's hot. It's almost like rubber, which is crazy because it's a very high tension, very strong, stiff wood, but you add heat to it and it just kind of turns to rubber. But so now I've got pretty straight bow limb here, but you can see it bends right through this section. I corrected the bend. I mean, this was part of the natural wood, so or how the tree grew, so I had to bend that area, and it's it still might need a little work, but now I've got this bow in the wood here that I gotta get out. So I'm gonna heat this section up right through here and see if I can get it to straighten up and be more in line with this. And then once it's straight, I'm gonna keep tillering it, and then once we get to a certain point, I'm gonna decide if I'm gonna put reflex in the bow or just leave it straight. So stay tuned. Okay, so I have gotten this bow pretty much down to it's shooting arrows now. I just put a string on it a second ago and shot some arrows off of it. Just kind of check its tiller and see what's going on with it. I've obviously, if I put a string on it, I've put some nocks in the end. I like to put them at a little bit of an angle. I start them with a knife, and then I get a file, and I just put that file in there at a little bit of that, following that angle, and I'll just run that file till you get that knock down. And then I even like to bring it in here and bring it in on the inside of the bow, on the belly of the bow, not the back, and kind of angle it so the string comes more towards the belly, or like the loop goes towards the belly. But I've also taken the heat gun and gotten it pretty straight, and then added just a slight curve to the bow in the way that it should go. And now the brace height that I had it at was about probably 3 or 4 inches. I'm going to try to get it a little bit more flexible through the tips and get more of that D shape into the bow. Be watching for a string tutorial. I just took a string off of one of my other bows that I've made for the time being, and been using it to shoot some arrows. But it's currently dark outside, so I'll have some footage of shooting some arrows off this bow as I work the tiller. I've never used a tillering tree, which might be weird to some people. I've just kind of done it by eyeball and putting the string on it and pulling it. I'll look at it in the mirror and just see the flex. Yeah, I just haven't used a tillering tree, but that's how I get the bow taking its shape and tillered. So okay, now we have the bow. We've shot it. It's shooting pretty good. It's pretty fast. Now it's time to do a final finish on the bow. I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but there's some little imperfections in here where there was a little bit of tearing. There's still a little bit of that on the side of the bow. The back of the bow is pretty good to go. It just needs a touch of sanding, but I just take sandpaper, and I don't know what grit this is, but I just start working the sandpaper down, and I've kind of made this to where there's edges of the bow, and I don't like to get too much into the inside of the front of the bow, the edge there, but it's pretty sharp, almost like a 90-degree angle. But on the back side, I definitely take the sandpaper and I start working that edge down, just so when you're holding the bow, it's not as I guess sharp on your hand. But I'll also probably take my Dremel tool over here that's got a little bit of a like a sanding tool on it, and maybe try to cut out some of these deeper gouges. But you just want to take your time as you do that. But just take this sandpaper and just start sanding. And you just want to keep sanding until your wood smooths out on the bow. And so I'll sand, and once I'm done, I'll take a wet cloth, run it over the bow, get all the sanded sawdust or just dust off the wood, and then we'll put a finish on it. Alrighty, so got the bow sanded down. Let me get a look at it, but sanded down. I've wiped all the dust from the sanding clean with a wet rag, let it dry. Now I'm going to take some tung oil to finish, and I'll put several coats on of this, and it will seal and protect the bow. There are other things you can use to seal the wood. This is just what I've been using lately. So I think the Comanches used cow fat and also maybe bear fat, I think, but I do not have cow or bear fat. So I'm going to use some tung oil, but I'll start working this in. You let it dry for I think it says like 10 minutes or so, and then yeah, and then wait 24 hours. So we'll do a coat, let it dry, do another coat, and then let it sit for 24 hours. Alright, so I've put some of the tung oil on this cloth, and we are just going to start applying it. Pretty generous coating all over this bow. And really get a good coat on there. And it really brings out the color of that wood. It looks really nice once you get this applied. So that's a pretty generous coating, but I'm going to go ahead and get my napkin wet again with the oil and give it a good wipe down with this. Okay. There's a generous coating of that tung oil on there. So set the bow here. Let it dry. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a nice, real orange, glossy look to it now. And we'll hit it with another coat. Alrighty, so here is the finished product, all the way from an Osage stave to a shooting Comanche bow. You can see the gloss finish there. There's the belly of the bow. String and at brace height. Okay, let's shoot a couple. Alright, if you've been following the process, here is the finished, well, it's not finished, it's pretty close to finished. I'm gonna string it up here, shoot some arrows, show you how it's working. I shot it the other day, it's pretty fast, and then we'll finish it, sand it up, and get a finish on it, and we'll take another look at it then. But let's go ahead and string it up. There it is at brace height. It's probably, I don't know, 4 inches, maybe a little more, but let's shoot a few shots.